What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to episode number 44 of the Tuesday Track Talk. Kind of fitting with how we're going to talk about later tonight. I'm your tire changer Cam,
I'm your Jackman Kellen.
And I'm your gas man, Cam.
and we got another great episode here for you. A lot of crown jewels and some big races happened this weekend, along with some more controversy, some bad views. I don't know how you want to term it, but we got some stuff to talk about here. So, sit down, grab your drink, grab a snack, whatever. If you're driving down the road, settle in. It's gonna be a great episode. So before we dive too deep into all that stuff, what's going on, fellas, since we last reconvened with each other?
God, it got hot again,
It was hot this weekend.
and it's sticky. Just
I'm
like
glad
you can
glad
feel the humidity in the air.
yep. So I was gonna wear the shirt that you're wearing right now on Saturday.
Yep.
And I got to the track. I'm like, nope. I packed an extra shirt that was lighter. It was not as white as what Cam's shirt is, but it's a little on the I don't know what you want to call it.
Great.
Anyways, the egg side, like the egg white type of thing. And got to the track, and then they had the nice light blue shirts, event shirts. So I'm like, yep, that's the shirt I'm wearing tonight. So made the quick change and went from there. So I'm glad I did because it was hot.
Yeah.
So no, what else is going on?
Not much. Just enjoying the last couple weeks here before school gets going again.
Yeah, fair enough, especially for you.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, like once you hit the 4th of July, the summer's like you blink and it's September already. So um yeah, no, I'm getting to be an exciting time of year. We're about 4 weeks away from college football, about a month to date from the Badgers season opener. So um
On a Friday night, they open the season.
yeah, we are hitting this late August, early September is by far my favorite time of year. Racing is at the best time of year. You got college football. It's a fun time of year. So
Yeah.
looking forward to it. And the old Olympics kicked off. If you want to talk about some controversy, there was some controversy there too, but we're not going to get into that political stuff. But yeah, no, I've been tuning in and out of some racing, mixing and matching in the middle of the day with some Olympics, and yeah, fun time of year.
Let's say as we record here on a Sunday night, I've got World of Outlaws going right now, so definitely holding my own as far as the Olympic break goes and keeping myself occupied. So
They're in their Midwest swing from the Prairie Classic to now they're at Wilmot tonight. And then they come right up to our neighborhood, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
yep, they're talking late models, but I got sprints on right now. So
Oh, yeah.
yep. So you want to dive into some races that happened over the weekend?
I would figure that's usually what we do here.
Well, let's do it then. So we were talking about World of Outlaws and the sprint cars. Like I said, I've got them on right now, but let's talk about where they were at this past weekend. We're gonna just kind of cover one of them. We're gonna cover, let's see, where are we at here?
That'd be the Saturday night feature.
Yep, the Saturday night at Williams Grove. That's
Yep.
what we're looking at. So, I did not get to see it because I was at a different race. Um, where am I at here? Lost track of where I was at. But either way, shots led a little bit led early in that race. But gravel just kind of kept coming through the track or coming through the pack. Shield hit the wall, kept rolling. He's been doing that lately. He's been not hitting the wall. I mean, everybody pretty much hits the wall, but keeps her going.
Yeah, you could see it. He came off he was coming off a full right at the start of the front stretch. And he managed to spin that car around, nose tapped the wall, and kept rolling.
Hmm.
So you don't see that too often in a sprint car, to say the least.
No,
But
no.
he just did a little early bird and right back to racing he went.
Which I don't know, and obviously it all depends on how he hit too. Caution could save a caution too and keep everybody running then at that point. So,
Yeah.
um, but with Donnie starting up front and Gravel starting pretty close to the front as well, it didn't take long for them two to find each other. And of course, a little bit of a call it a rematch from the Kings Royal here last weekend. Kind of part two, and now that Shots was actually up front and kind of got to go at it again. And they were just trading sliders back and forth. I mean, they damn near split the laps led with Shots leading 17 and Graveled even 13 in that race.
Yeah, they were good. I mean, they got the lap traffic, and it kind of made them shuffle lines a little bit when they had those longer green flag runs. But when those two are out in clean air by themselves, they're pretty fun to watch. You can just watch those two vets just kind of go at it. So
Yeah, for sure. And then Caution comes out with 5 to go, kind of repacks everybody up, and it gives Brent Marks a shot too. Had a good car, but just had to come from ways back. He actually he's pretty much started third, finished third, but with them two kind of pulling away, it just kind of got him back up towards the front.
yeah, it felt like he started deeper because those other two were just gone.
So far ahead, yeah.
Yeah, those other two were just so wicked up. It was hard to keep track of where the guys were at.
Ultimately, what it does though is Gravel ends up getting the better part of Shots here again. And goes on to win at Williams Grove. Fun fact, and I saw this morning. It's actually his 100th Outlaw win.
Yep. Yeah, it's a pretty big accomplishment. Some guys are scrapping to find their first one. He's got his 100th now.
Yep.
So
So obviously he stays hot. Check the points here real quick for them as well. Obviously extends his point lead as well over Gravel, or sorry, Shots. Got a straight 100-point lead over Donnie Shots right now, and has a very, very impressive 12 wins on the year.
yeah,
So
12 wins and 30 top fives.
yep, 30 top fives, 36 top tens out of 40 starts. Well, and especially when you look at Shots, he's only sitting on 20 top fives. So, I mean, that's a huge deal. Then, of course, only the 3 wins.
Yeah.
Sean Haunshield's next in line with wins when it comes to 7. But even then, that's still, you're a ways away from that. So,
Yeah. That's your difference in the point battle right there. When you finish in the top 10, 36 to 40 races, you got a pretty good shot to be sitting really good points racing.
and when you're basically 3 for 4 as far as finishing, yeah, in the top 10, and then, or no, sorry, in the top 5, when you're 3 for 4 for basically finishing in the top 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
Goes a long way in the points battle. So when it's all said and done, your top 10 look for Williams Grove was David Gravel, Donnie Schatz, Brent Marks, Pittman, Peck, Gio, Macedo, DeWise, Hanschild, and Dietrich were your top 10. I think I just saw something too that Danny Dietrich's actually going late model racing tonight.
Yeah, he was they posted a video. He was doing a little testing or racing or whatever he was doing.
Racing. I think he's actually racing tonight.
Yeah, he said he was working on getting everything up to speed in the late model. So yeah, kind of cool.
Yeah.
Trying something a little different.
Yep.
So
No, like I said, 40 races in on the season so far. It doesn't feel like 40 races. That's a season's been going by quick. That's for sure.
40 races, and you think about all the races that have been rained out already.
Yeah.
That's they could be staring down the barrel of 50 races already if they could have gotten them all in.
I think the full schedule is 82 or 86. Something like that.
Yeah, they'd be staring for sure down the barrel of at least 50 features, but it is kind of cool. World Outlaws, they like to do this every once in a while. They like to sprinkle in 2025 dates already. So if you're looking for a particular track that the World of Outlaws might visit, that would be they kind of like to sprinkle those in there because the World of Outlaw sprint cars at Cedar Lake is already posted on the Cedar Lake website. So
Hey,
you can kind of get a sneak peek into that once in a while. They're kind of good at dropping those tidbits here and there. So
awesome. I'll have to keep that one in mind. So, no, anything else with the sprint cars before we head to our next one here?
no, good race.
No, I was just gonna say this. The more this goes on, it feels like a common theme. It's the gravel and shots show. Those two going at it back and forth, and yeah, David Gravel's uh he's rolling right now. Got that team rolling, and not only that, but he's shooting his shot on social media too. This past week when he was chiming in and trying to get a little bit more financial backing, and was chatting it up with Denny Hamlin. So
Forgot
Yes,
about that.
I did see that.
Forgot about that.
Denny did say if he does anything sprint car related racing, it would be with him. So I don't know, it'd be cool to see if Denny kind of dipped his toes in there, and um be cool to have, for the sprint cars, Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson at a track. You already got, Alex Bowman and his team once in a while, but um either way it would be cool. And Denny's gonna dip his toes in there. Be a good guy to dip your toes in and team up with. So no, gravel's rolling right now, and shots is just being a little pester. He's close, but one of these times he'll break through and the script will flip for him, and he'll get one over gravel. But fun battle to follow along with nonetheless.
I bet your Shots is really looking forward to the Knoxville Nationals here coming up in about 2 weeks.
Yep.
I
So
don't know if
that'll
you
be a
guys
good one.
caught too on the other night on the high limit stream when they were, we talk about the posse against the world. They on the old high limit stream, they're like, yeah, we're gonna take a little break before I think they head out west, and do their kind of west coast swing. And they said, but the guys won't be off long. They're gonna be going to the Knoxville Nationals, and then the announcer said, actually, I think every single high roller is gonna be at Knoxville. So
Mhm.
stay tuned to social media for that if the old high rollers get a couple wins there.
Which Larson's your defending champ. So
Yep.
So
uh s-
no, go ahead.
speaking speaking of the posse, talking about the Pennsylvania posse here, TJ Stutz, he actually got himself a win with the Outlaws, and pretty upsetting, well, not upsetting, but definitely was the underdog. Nobody really gave him a shot to win it against the Outlaws, and he goes and shows them up. And uh never did see if he actually made the call on Saturday night or not, because there's a lot of questions of whether he was going to actually be able to show up or not, just because would maybe be hungover.
Ooh. Ooh.
I think somebody actually did post something or saying TJ Sutts, just in jokingly fashion, did not qualify. It's just in parentheses, hungover. He did race. He finished 20th on Saturday night, but
That was what you would call a hangover race.
yeah, for sure. But he led all 25 laps, beat gravel too at his own game on Friday night. So
Yeah, you could beat gravel. You're in a pretty good spot.
last time that we really saw any upsets or surprise winners in the Outlaws would have been Dave Blaney when he won at Sharon Speedway a handful of years ago.
Yep.
So that was really cool. Everybody, and especially the local crowd, went nuts for that one. So
Yeah.
all right, well, you want to talk about we got a couple of asphalt late models here to talk about. You want to talk about some cars tour racing at Hickory?
Uh, Cars Tour Racing or Cars Tour Fighting?
Yeah. Well, we'll get to the fighting part. There was a race that actually happened here as well.
Yeah.
It's their yearly throwback weekend that they run at Hickory. So it's the throwback 276. One of the Josh Berry made an appearance this weekend with NASCAR being off. He actually jumped into the KHI car and put his name into the mix for this one. So
Yeah.
um, when it came down to the tow, it was Millington, Bassett Jr., and Connor Hall were all your guys that were kind of right up front for that one. Cam, I know you're a big Connor Hall guy.
Oh yeah, baby. We're on the lead lap.
um, but a guy that really kind of stood out was Carson Quaffle. He just struggled in this one. Was just kind of mid pack. Was never able to get his way out of there. Got a big big pile up that just dented in his nose. I don't know if you saw pictures or anything like that of that one.
I
That thing was crunched in.
yeah. Yes, it was for sure.
So just struggled. Um First real big thing that came out of this one, Grady and Huffman. They got together in a small stack up. Grady had to check up, and Hoffman just couldn't. In my opinion, I just don't think he could have checked up fast enough either. Got into Grady, spun him into the inside wall, and then Grady gets out and throws his Hans device at Hoffman.
He did, yup. That yeah, that was the throw was decent. It got there.
Kind of hit the
Little,
door more than anything, but
I'm gonna say a
Yup.
little low and outside, it seemed.
yeah, but definitely made his displeasure known. We'll talk about his post-race comments here later. But otherwise, like I said, it was down to Milton and Connor Hall. They were racing for pretty much the last 6 laps of that one. Little bit of use of the bumper being used on some guys. Uh, Connor Hall kind of used up Millington uh over in turn 3. Or no, yes, sorry. Connor Hall used Millington up over in turn 4 coming to the white. And that's what kind of started this whole thing. Millington tried to get him back again in 1, didn't get him, finally gets him in 3 and just downright spins him.
Yeah, he sailed it off in there and he just tapped him and there was nothing Millington was going to be able to do.
Anything Hall was going to be able to do.
Well, when Millington got turned by Hall, I'm seeing.
No, got spun by Millington.
Right, but then Millington got turned too.
That was the lap before. He didn't get turned. He just got used up in 3 before
You
that.
are you sure?
I'm sure.
Millington doing everything just to
Hang on. So Hall was in the 17.
Yep. He used up Millington in 3 and 4 coming to the white.
Hold on. Yep. Hold on. There's the 2 to go. Yes, you're right. Never mind.
And then Millington spun Hall coming in the 3 and 4 coming to the checkered.
Yeah, correct. Never mind. The throwback weekends got me all turned around. None of these cars look like they, when you flip on the race, you see a car and you go, oh, you know exactly who that is. I was just a little bit confused there because they're all running all these different wraps this weekend, so never mind. But yeah, that was and honestly, that decision coming from the Cars Tours official, it didn't take long because by the time Bassett had gotten around to park on the front stretch for the podium stuff, he got parked and they handed him the checkered flag and he wasn't even out of the car yet.
Yep.
So Cars Tour officials wasted no time making that decision, knowing that he was going to be the winner.
And they've made that decision in the past as well.
Yeah. So it was efficiently taken care of and handled, and they, again, this is a chance, a great opportunity to kind of revisit the whole disqualification, victory lane type stuff because he hadn't even gotten out of the car. So they also handed him the flag that gave him a chance to kind of do his lap, but also go have all the pictures taken in victory lane.
Yep.
Like you would want it to be when you win a race. Now, do you want to win a race that way? Not particularly. But when the circumstances are there and you've put yourself in a position to be there, it also gives him the opportunity to celebrate the victory the way you would want to celebrate a victory. So,
yeah,
that part I do appreciate that they just, all right, here's what we're going to do. Get it right, especially for Bassett, who that's his first career Cars Tour win. So, you'd want to celebrate that one. So, that I can appreciate.
Yep. And it could have, you hate to say this, but it might have been a situation of, well, if I'm not going to win it, you're not either type of thing.
Correct. For sure.
And it's just, the bumpers definitely get used, I feel like, not just in the Cars Tour, but you see it in the Southern Super Series, the South.
Yep.
You see the bumpers get used in the South, and it's definitely not a thing that we do up here. And it's just, it leads to more headaches that I think than it does any good.
Yeah,
and gets guys angry. I mean, how many times do you hear it? Oh, I was going for the win type of scenario. And it's like,
you know,
yeah, I only like to hear that so much, if at all.
correct. Yeah,
So
man, you
I,
had some other big names in that race really struggle too.
yeah, like I said, Carson qualified. I know Barry, I think he was running up towards the top 5 there.
Finished ninth.
Oofed.
Connor Zilic eighth. Brent Cruz 18th. So yeah,
The other thing that came out of this, and Cam, you made a comment when I first hopped on and we talked about this. Uh, well, ultimately, Grady's team gets in a brawl in the pits. I'm assuming with Hoffman's team, never really got clarification on who it was or saw anything about who it was. Um, but it seems like again with the bumpers that get used, everybody's feelings get hurt, and you end up seeing these brawls happen.
correct. That was there's that one dude. I don't know who the individual was. He got knocked on his ass. He got he got hammered a good one.
We got a little Royal Rumble there.
This wasn't just a mano situation here.
This was a little tag team, but there was no tagging people in. They just joined in.
Just full on brawl. Jesus. So Grady made some post race comments, basically called Huffman a hack. Heard that before. And a trash panda, surprisingly enough.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And then Huffman comes back and says, well, I've got a championship and multiple race wins under my belt in late model stocks. So he could do global. He can, I don't know how I want to word it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. We know exactly what he said. We listened.
So, and then of course, Hoffman says, trash panda shirts incoming.
Of course, they'll sell.
Yep. So,
Gotta capitalize on it when you can.
yeah, seen that again. We've seen that before happen. But
Yeah.
again, it's just, I think it's a situation where with Grady where he checked up and Hoffman was committed to the going to the outside and he couldn't check up fast enough. And ultimately, it's just chain reaction deal.
Yeah, there was nothing anyone was gonna do. It is what it is.
Yep. But again, it's just a shame that it ends up being a brawl.
Well, yeah, again, it just kind of feels like a little bit of a, I don't want to say reoccurring thing with that.
Broken record,
It seems like the big brawls unfortunately, come out of
late
that,
model stocks.
the
I
late
mean, we
model
remember that
stuff.
one at Martinsville. Was it last year or 2 years ago?
That was
We had
last
that big one.
guy ended
Yeah.
up on a freaking,
On his
Yep.
hood.
yeah,
Yeah.
this hood, innocent freaking bystander.
Yep.
So,
I saw too, it's whoever side you're on. I don't know. It just feels like the Cars Tour is a great place where you want to go if you want to get your stuff smashed up. Um, but one of the things I saw from Landon Hoffman, I think he's still chirping today about it, but um, what's his name? Grady said, there's gonna be a conversation, and he's not leaving the facility before without, having a conversation. I saw Hoffman said he threw grass and dirt in his window net and then never came and saw him. So
Hmm.
a
got
lot
it.
of seems like a lot of bark and not a lot of bite from that camp. Um, but I don't know.
Let's let's take a little look at his Twitter real quick just to see.
See
It's
if I
not
could.
great when this is how we get racing in the news.
Yeah.
But again, this Cars Tour has made a name for itself of, you know, racing
Yeah.
people hard, running people over, and again, the whole thing about, if your car is that much better than them, just get around them the right way or use the skills you have to get around them the right way. But now it's like, well, if you're better than somebody and they're slow and they're not going to move, well, just dump them. But
Yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't
it,
posted anything in 18 hours, but his last post was a congrats to Ronnie Bassett. So yeah,
When it does come down to it though, and I'm trying to find a top 10 here, unless Cam, you've got it handy, or not Cam, Colin.
what's that?
Top 10.
Me help you out here. Yes. So top 10. Ronnie Bassett, Bobby McCarty, Connor Hall, Cade Brown, Brendan Queen, Trayton Lapsovich, Manny Tyrell, Connor Zilich, Josh Berry, Katie Hedinger rounds out your top 10.
All
Huffman,
right.
Hafer, Brandon Jones, Dempster, Robusto round out the top 15.
All right.
So those are your late model stock results from Hickory.
Real quick, we'll touch on points as well. This is as of 7-3, so we haven't gotten these updated points yet. But Connor Hall was the points leader going into it. He was up by 9 points over Brent Cruz. Uh, Carson Quaffle was third, Brendan Queen fourth, Trayton Lapovich was fifth. He had a rough day. Ryan Millington was sixth, Minnie Tyrell seventh, Bobby McCarty eighth, Chad McCumbee ninth, and then the 62 car, the Kevin Harvick car, was 10th in points. I say that because they've had a couple of drivers.
Yeah.
So
Landon Hoffman's working on himself on those t-shirts. The Rocket City Trash Pandas is a AA baseball team affiliated with the Angels. And he said Landon Hoffman just tweeted Trash Panda shirts incoming, and they replied to him and said, "Sup." He goes, "Can we collab, please? I got called a Trash Panda tonight, and I like baseball and I like drinking beer."
giddy up.
So that's funny.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Uh,
the unfortunate part of that race is they racked a lot of shit,
yeah,
unfortunately, and they have that race at Wilkesboro coming up here.
yep.
So I just saw a guy made a comment on Twitter. I was just looking and they're like, "Oh, obviously being sarcastic." He goes, "Oh, it looks like we'll have about 10 cars at Wilkesboro." So
Yikes.
yeah, there was a couple cars that took some heavy hits.
So, well, any other thoughts here before we move to some more localized super late model racing?
No.
So obviously, I think we got to talk about the Midwest Tour. They were back in action finally this weekend. Believe it or not, this was the first race since May for the Midwest Tour because Jordan got rained out.
Yeah.
So this is the first time they've been back in action. But they're going to be they have 4 races in the next 36 days or something like that.
Yeah, because then they go Madison, Dells.
Well, though they go Hawkeye Downs, Madison, Dells,
Yep.
or no, sorry, Kakana, Hawkeye,
Oh, yeah.
Madison, and Dells.
Because the Dixieland's next week.
Yep. So you got 4 races in the month of August alone for the Midwest Tour.
Yeah. Yeah, because
So,
that stretch is 3 weeks back to back to back there.
yep. Well, 4 really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Close.
Yeah. But no, so we had the Larry Detjens Memorial at State Park Speedway. We talked about it. I think we talked about it earlier this year, but State Park Speedway announced that this would be the final year of racing under the Wimmer family. And I say that because I learned this weekend that potentially the track's not actually sold yet.
Oh,
What rumors we had early in the year fell through. So still up in the air. So it's not official that the track's closing yet. But
Yeah.
everybody's pretty much thinking that this will be the final Larry Detjens Memorial State Park Speedway. So track is still as bumpy as ever. Can
Yep.
confirm that. It's pretty dirty too. Um Going off for qualifying. I texted you guys that Kraus was the first one to go off for qualifying, and he bit literally the dust qualifying in that one.
Yeah.
But we also displayed a new die or brought out a new die this week because apparently the old one got destroyed somehow.
Yeah, it was not a square one. It was that
Yep.
hectagon, octagon, whatever gon that thing is. It was kind of ugly, actually, I thought.
Well, first roll on the new die, and we roll a 6, so we got a 13 car invert for this race. It was 7 plus the roll.
Yow.
So that put Willie Nelson and Jason Weinkoff on the front row. Weinkoff didn't get a whole lot of practice. So he had pretty much a 1 30-minute practice session, which was in 5-minute stits of groups, and then qualifying to kind of get the car dialed in. And well, it didn't really work for him because then the motor grenaded 4 laps in.
Well, he was busy because they had 3 cars there. They had Levon, they had his car, and then they had a Bandel.
Yep.
So he was a man of many talents, amongst trying to wrench on his own stuff.
Yep. Well, and they're gonna have a lot more wrenching to do because, like I said, that motor grenaded.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
very similar to what happened to Sommers at Dell's.
that like lap 4, was it? 3, 4?
Lap 4. Yep.
Yeah.
You saw it puff coming into 1 and 2 on lap 4. Or no, sorry, you saw it puff go. Yeah, saw it puff going to 1 and 2. He slew going into 3 and 4, and it finally gradated coming back around.
Yeah. There was no questioning what exactly had gone on with that car. You knew when that thing went, you know exactly what the problem was.
Yep. So a couple small spins. Jeff Storm ended up spinning on his own. I forget who the other one was, but basically we had 3 cautions kind of within the first 10 laps. Based on Friday night's racing, we were kind of worried that it was going to be a long night.
Yep.
But afterwards they got a really long green flag run that ultimately saw Mindike take the lead. Race Hayes.
Didn't Vandergeest spin on his own?
Vandergeest spun his own, but it was later in the race. I think there was 40 some to go when he spun.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, completely missed that note.
But no, Race Hayes, he had himself a hell of a race. He started P4 and just kind of took advantage of the couple guys in front of him, either not running good or, obviously with Weinkoff blowing his motor. He led a good chunk of that race, a very good chunk of that race.
So State
That a
Park
boy race.
Yeah, so State Park has always been one of those tracks that the weekly guys are really good at.
The locals are good.
And he's a case of that. That if the weekly guys can get track position, they're going to be really competitive for a very big part of that race. And look at last year, Brock Heinrich won that feature. I mean, and that's not to say that other places aren't similar, but it just feels very magnified at State Park with the weekly guys just finding a way to get themselves a little track position, and they're going to be really good coming down the stretch.
Well, and I know we talked about that last year at Kakana when all the SA guys came in and some of them guys were struggling with the bumps and won.
No.
I mean, it's the same scenario here. Stormy was really concerned about the bumps coming into it.
Yeah.
And I would say it ultimately bit him because that's what made him spin on his own.
Yeah.
Which I popped on his radio because they were worried that he would have sent the 20.
Gralski.
Yep. They were worried that they were going to send him to back because he kind of maybe ran up to him, but they called. So he caught on the radio real quick and he said, well, if they put him in the back, let me know and I'll tap.
Got it.
So,
Yeah.
but otherwise, fast time, Vandergeest obviously was starting 13th. He had make his way up, but he really never really made his way up. And like you were mentioning earlier, he spun on his own over in 3 and 4. Didn't get hit somehow, but just
Right,
kind of
right
lost
in
on
the
his
middle
own.
of 3 and 4 too.
Yep.
A really bad spot to get yourself in there too.
Yep. So obviously with that spin that gathered everybody up, you kind of wondered if anybody was going to have anything for Mondyke, but he wasn't on his own planet, but he was definitely on rails for sure. Really, Hayes was the only one. Majeski couldn't get up through the field fast enough. Um, Johnson just kind of hung around. I heard him say he was just way too tight at one point in time.
Yeah.
So again, that track was just difficult for some guys. Um, Ultimately, he Race had some moments to catch Mondyke, especially in lap traffic, but as soon as Mondyke would get some clean air, he would just take off. And ultimately, he ends up winning his second Detjens, and again, which what could be the last Midwest Tour race there.
Yeah. Race was coming. He had one real big moment over in 3 and 4 that kind of gave Mondyke 3 or 4 car lengths that pretty much wrapped it up.
Yeah, he just ran too wide.
Yeah, he was up the hill and you just knew that Mondyke was going to have it from there. He just wasn't going to be enough time for him to get back there.
Yep. Because I don't remember if last time you guys were there, if they had patches in 3 and 4, because they repatched the second groove, is what they did.
No, I don't believe so.
They put blacktop on the second groove of 3 and 4, and that's where most of the guys
Yeah.
were running.
Really?
Yep. In 3 and 4 at least. You could run the top there.
That's
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. And then that's when he just got out of that groove and into the dirt and it just
Gone.
sent them. Yep.
Yeah, and that a place is kind of tricky like that sometimes too, because guys like to kind of flirt with dropping that left front in the dirt and
Yep.
then kick it up on the racing surface. So if you get out of that clean groove, you're up in the marbles, and it's that part is also really magnified because you're just once you're up there, all the stuff that gets kicked out of the racing groove ends up in that third groove. So if you get shoved out of line and you miss it, you got yourself in trouble there. So
Yeah.
you could just see it coming too.
Yep. So
And I was gonna say too, looking at the entry list that we had of guys, um, and the field of cars there obviously was a pretty tough field. And we went through and made race picks for that race last week, and none of us picked Mondyke.
I thought about it, but he historically has not done good on the Midwest Tour.
Correct, but then you get to a little track like that, and that's a weekly guy, and it's
Yep.
like
Yeah.
Yep.
sometimes, I mean, anytime you get a time Majeski or stuff like that, Summers, Fenhouse, all those guys, and some of those bigger names, a Storm, it's easy to overlook a weekly guy, but it's like shit. Should have reassessed
Oh,
and figured Mondyke was going to have to have something to say as many laps as he turns at that place.
Oh
He
yeah.
knows how to get around there, and he's obviously a Toby car as well. So he's going to have a good car.
well,
But
look at our race picks from last week. Cam, you had Summers. I took Fredrickson, and Cam, you had Johnson. So the race picks really our picks fared decent.
Fredrickson was the lowest out of the bunch in 11th.
Yeah.
Another guy that struggled a lot that I thought would have maybe had a little more, would have been in the contention, Luke Fenhouse.
Yeah.
He struggled as well.
got a jungle cat in there.
What's up, buddy?
Jungle Cat is right. That thing,
Wow.
All 17 pounds.
all the unit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you know, he's kind of struggled a little bit with that car this year collectively.
yeah,
Even at the Dells, he's had moments where he looks really, really good, and then he's had other moments that you're just like, that's not him. So I
yeah.
don't. They've kind of struggled a little bit with that, and at the end of the day, they haven't been running as much because he's got the Truck Series stuff going on. So maybe that has a little something to do with it. Maybe it's the new tire, but
Well, and Majeski admitted to it at one point in time as well too. When he wasn't running late models as much as he was, he struggled because of the NASCAR schedule.
you know,
He had the blue car as well, if that makes any difference. He didn't have the cow patterned car.
Yep.
So ultimately though, your top 10 for the Detjens Memorial, Justin Mondyke was your winner, Race Hayes second, Ty Majeski was third. Race Hayes held him off. Majeski almost got second, but he was able to hold him off. Gabe Sommers fourth, Casey Johnson fifth, Brock Heinrich, another local guy, was sixth. Riley Stenham seventh. Vandergeest fights his way back up to eighth. Travis Volm, another local guy, was ninth. And Jevin Goralski, another local guy, rounded up top 10. Like I
Yep.
said, Fredrickson was 11th. Fenhouse was 12th. Farrell 13th. Jeff Storm 14th. And your boy Derek Kraus 15th.
15. Yep.
That
So
was another boy that Kellen and I had talked about, which we just talked about on Saturday. Was quick early in the night, and then something happened. And Kellen and I were just talking about, he's been solid in his family-owned late model. Not, I don't want to say he has race winning speed, but he's always, again, consistent, runs, makes all the laps, keeps his fenders clean, and he's in the top 5. He's there at the end. So that was, a track that he's, got a win at or two when he was a young gun. And Kellen and I were just talking about, hey, maybe he is starting to figure out and put this, family-owned super late model, starting to get it all figured out. And, him and Mark are getting on the same page and everything. And then just was a little just behind all night and,
like
just struggled.
yeah, like I said, I think him going out first in qualifying and he ultimately was outside of the top 16 that locked in. I think that definitely hurt him because now he was going to have to come through the pack.
Correct.
Can't concentrate. We got Jesus.
Just passing by.
Yep.
She's gonna lay on the table right behind the computer now. But yeah, struggle a little bit, but at the end of the day, the car comes home in one piece. That's the other thing about it too. Not gonna spend a month rebuilding it either.
Yep.
So
Dude, maybe he just thrives going to tracks that he has no notebook on.
Maybe come
The
in with an open
Red
mind.
Bud was a prime example of that.
Yeah.
Maybe these tracks that he's got a notebook on, he hits the old Van Grohl smash, the old paralysis.
Paralysis by analysis. There's one we haven't thrown out in a while.
Yep. You got anything on the whiteboard this week or no?
No, I don't. Had some political stuff on it, but we're gonna keep the channel political free here for
Attaboy.
the time being. So
Attaboy. Good.
There's another big race going on for our country that we could maybe touch on later in the year, since we are a racing channel. But we'll save that for another
I was
time.
about to say we don't need the downward spiral of the channel to start now.
Yeah,
So
next thing you know, this whole thing will be shut down. Get us
Yeah, no, but sometimes too, you talk about, when you have a notebook and you got that baseline, when you show up to a track and you got your setup and it's like, all right, we know this is going to put us, if this setup will generally put us in, top 10 range. And then you go there and you start, it's a game of inches. You're always searching for that, just that little bit extra that's going to give you an extra 10th, 2/10, and then ends up biting you and going the opposite way. And
well,
then
the only thing well, obviously is qualifying, going out first and helping. But the other thing is you've heard stories of some of these guys saying that you get a new set of tires and you bolt stickers on, and they act 99% different than what the practice tires do. So
I heard Johnson make a comment about that during practice because he was second practice. He made one run and then he was going to be done. And they were kind of batting around the idea of if they wanted to bolt on the stickers to see if it would do anything different.
because Farrell made a comment early in the season for the Dells, and then Storm also did too. He just said, he goes, we were really good, top 5 in practice, and then we put the stickers on and went out and qualified like 23rd of 25. He goes, we were terrible.
Well, I think there's two factors that come into that. One, obviously it's this T1, T2 tire that nobody's ever really ran. So there's no real notebook to go with it. But then two, I think they're practicing on their old tires from years past
Heat cycle.
and then switching to a different tire.
Yeah, could be heat cycled as well.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting. It's at the end of the day, you got to be able to figure it out. It's you want to win races, you got to start with track position too.
Brings back this tire specialist of years old past.
Yep, for sure.
The
Soak 'em.
Retzloffs. That's a name. Retzloff.
Yep, soak them.
Yep.
So, our friend Doug Kellen, you know him. He's the one that worked with Trickle back in the day.
Yeah,
He showed up and he was kind of wandering the pits. And my grandpa made a joke to him. He says, "Did you get him the right setup?" We were referring to Majeski. He
yeah,
says, I had to fight for it. They weren't listening to me at first.
that's funny.
So, no, any final thoughts with the Detjens Memorial State Park Speedway?
Hopefully, well, I got one question for you. I'll make a comment, and then I got a question for you. Hopefully, it's not the last Detjens. I hope they continue to run a memorial race somewhere. If State Park is not a racetrack, I hope that the
Yep.
Detjens is still around, and I think the Midwest Tour would do that. Um, my question for you is, what was it like leaving the track knowing it might be the last time you're ever there?
It was weird. It was really weird.
That's yeah,
But I will say this though, and you and Cam, I think you posted this in the group chat. That picture from Noodleman, those
Yeah.
aerial drone shots, that place was packed,
well, I'm sure.
straight packed.
Yeah,
It
as
was
it should be.
insane.
Yeah, as it should be.
Yep. So
It was
yeah, it's
awesome.
just it's weird. It's really weird because now God forbid, still things have to get played out, but that'd be two tracks here in the Midwest that closed in 2 years,
Yeah,
with Rockford being the other one.
yeah.
Um, if you guys have any other final thoughts, I was gonna chime one more in there.
Go for it.
Nope.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, those Noodleman shots were nuts. Just insane cars down the road. But I was gonna say, you guys want to turn back a couple pages on the old memory bank. Should give the old Detjens, that holds a special place in our heart. That was the official initiation of this group. Um,
Huh.
Remember Chase showed up at our house and he's like, "Yeah, I'm bringing my roommate. He's a diehard race fan." He's like, "I know you and Kellen enjoy racing. You'll get along with this guy good."
Yeah.
And you guys showed up at the house, picked us up, and the rest is history. So the old
That
deep
was
is this holds a
yeah,
special place. That was the initiation of the group, and the first
and,
time all three of us hit the road, and all four of us hit the road together and went to the track.
Yep.
and I'm sure you sat in the same spot up on that top row.
Yep. That
And
was a road down, but yep, same
yep,
area.
same zip code. But then that was the night that it was Bush Light night. We went and got a couple Bush Lights, and Chase had that one beer. It was I think it was like the second to last one in the bag. They hand you your beer in the clear ice bag with a little ice in it. And you go walking up to your
Still did
spot.
that.
Yep. And I just remember he got that beer out and he kicked it down underneath the bleachers. You just heard it hit. Psst, and he goes, "Was that my beer?" And I looked at him and go, "Yep, it's right down there below you." Yeah, it's funny.
Yep. Yep. So no, that was it'll be different. I don't know if I'm going there one more time. Mark Martin's making an appearance there later in the year. I debating whether I'm gonna make it there or not. I might have to get some permission to go to that one. Um, but yeah, if it is the last one, I've done a ton of races there over my years.
Yeah.
Um, when me and my grandfathers first started kind of venturing out, it was always Plover on Friday. Then we ventured to Marshfield on Saturdays, and then we ventured to Wausau on Thursdays.
Yep. Yep. Because they always run weekly on Thursday nights.
Yep.
Yeah.
So nope, bittersweet. Like I said, still some things happening on the backside of things that who knows? We'll see.
And I was gonna say, yeah, what final thought on that is, that's I guess some positive news there that you heard at least this weekend. At least it wasn't a consensus. Hey, this is the last one and it's done at the end of the year. From what we originally had heard, supposedly apartment complexes or stuff like that. So, um, all we can do is, I guess, hope and pray. And I guess he provided us a little bit of hope there this weekend that it doesn't sound like it's consensus
Yep.
doing away with it. So if you're gonna give us a little bit of hope, we'll cling on to it and start saying some prayers.
Yeah. So
Yep.
no, any other thoughts before we kind of hit on some other news?
Well,
Well, let's do that then. So I don't know, I think we're on week number 3 of this kicking the tires and chewing the fat name.
What does that even mean?
Chewing the fat?
Yeah.
It's just like shooting the shit, water cooler talk, all that type
Right.
of thing.
okay. All right.
It's kind of what it is. So, uh, first one, and we'll start with the big NASCAR news. Actually, who wants to hit on that one?
Well, that's your boy.
No, the other boy. Yeah. So Corey LaJoie and Spire announced that they were splitting at the end of 2024, which I made a comment to you guys
You called
that
this shot 2 weeks ago, so it's only fitting you can announce it.
Mhm. That it was odd when they announced Richard Childress to Spire that it was as the crew chief of the 7 car and not Corey LaJoie.
Yeah. That was kind of the first telltale.
It kind of made you wonder.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another layer to the silly season because now you have a Chevy car open at Spire, but you got to remember now that Trackhouse has all these drivers that are leased to other organizations, i.e., SVG. Who's in the Chevy pipeline that's willing to go to Spire to race in the Cup Series?
Does Zane Smith stay with Spire?
That's what's making me wonder if that's where he's headed. I wouldn't expect that, if I'm being honest.
Because Zane Smith is still a Trackhouse guy, if I remember right.
Correct. But running a Spire car,
Yep. And then SVG is also on loan to Colleague.
correct, from Trackhouse,
Yep.
both Chevy guys. Um, yeah, I don't. There's you got those. Those would be like the two big ones, the two obvious ones. Um,
Because I know it got announced, but I was brain farting on it earlier this week. Where's Gregson going?
he's going to front row, but they didn't give him a car number.
Because Barry was.
Barry's Barry's going to Wood
You say
Brother.
that's where
That's
Gregson was
right.
going?
What?
I blanked on where Gregson was going.
You
Yeah,
know,
But but there's also talks I've heard. Just looking through the X, Daniel Humrick. Is
yep.
that seat potentially up?
AJ Allmendinger. Well, the whole
Dinger's on a part-time in Cup anyways.
the whole Colleague Cup Series situation. I don't know. I haven't.
Does
Yeah.
I know Trackhouse loves SVG, but do you think they continue the lease then?
Trackhouse is going to contract SVG. I just my it's going to be a matter of where he drives, I think.
Yeah. All right, so
The
we'll
other
throw
name,
this.
the other name that I had saw on Twitter was potentially mulling going to Cup Series in a Chevy was Sam Mayer.
Yeah, I saw that too.
That's a little bit more of a stretch.
And I know he made his comments earlier that he should be racing on Sundays, which I love the confidence, but personally, I don't think he's ready.
I don't either.
dude's a reckless abandon out there.
But I don't know. It's just silly season's not over yet.
Oh, it's far from over because there's still a charter that's for sale.
Yeah. Well, 2, really.
Dude, you wanna know who I'm pulling for that I hope they put in there?
In what car?
Zane Smith.
In the Spire?
Yeah.
He's been performing past couple
Dude,
weeks.
give him the same kind of situation as, not that Childers wants to build somebody or, whatever, but put a young gun like Zane Smith, who's proven over and time again, he's got all the talent in the world. Give him somebody, a one of the best in the business on the box. Give them Childers and let those two go to work. See what happens. A young stallion behind the wheel and a savvy vet on the box.
Yeah, and obviously,
And
I wouldn't mind seeing the McDowell and Childers deal either.
true.
Yeah.
Dude, Kellen called it too. The whole, not to throw colleague in there, but wow, does it feel like colleague would swoop LaJoy up right now and seems like a colleague move to just be only relevant on the old restrictor plates.
Yeah.
Well, that's another silly season conversation. We talk about who's driving their Xfinity cars, but that's conversation for another day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another topic, if we don't have anything else with LaJoy here.
No.
I was gonna say another topic that I kind of want to touch on. Robert Ballou, he kind of called out one of the USAC tech officials here recently in a drivers meeting. Kind of stirred some conversation up. Basically, it kind of came down to was some drivers were supposedly adding some weight to the front of the car, in front of one of the bumper bars, which you can't put anything past it. And Ballou said, it's there. Follow the rule book. If it's there, you disqualify them. There's no, oh, well, make sure you don't do it next week or anything like that. And he straight up called out one of the officials.
Oh, nice. When you got ground to stand on, you might as well.
Yep. And the official is kind of trying to give his reason for it and all that. And it wasn't a good sight on either way. And he even made a point of we're not world outlaws. We're not racing for outlaws money in front of outlaws crowds or anything like that. We're USAC.
Yep.
We got to stick to our guts, our guns on this.
Yeah.
It kind of came down to one of the good old boys
Oh,
getting favors.
that's weird.
Heard that before.
Yep.
So no, I had to bring that up because this is a big week for USAC, especially the sprint car side with it being sprint week for them. So it's just timing couldn't have been better or worse, depending on how you look at it.
Right. Yeah.
So who wants to touch on the next one?
I'll just get in there. We had so it's been kind of interesting year for episode number 44 here, and the driver of the Longhorn number 44, the World Outlaws, Chris Madden, was in the news earlier this year, stepped away due to medical concerns for a little while, and then eventually came back, and he makes a big announcement this week and says he is gonna make the switch and crew chief, and he is going to crew chief for Richard Thornton Jr. Starting here at Florence. So you had to figure, these guys, when they step away from the driving seat, it just feels like, the itch to be at the track, they find a way, somehow. And this feels like the same situation. Driving career's over, ready to turn the page, but obviously has a deep passion for racing and wants to be involved in some way, shape, or form. So could be a dangerous pairing, to be honest with you.
Correct. Because you got to remember, in that Kohler Motorsports camp, they have one Rocket and they have one Longhorn. So not to say you can't work on both, but you got to remember Madden was a Rocket guy for a while, and then he went to a Longhorn. But that shop has got two different chassis going, so it's kind of an interesting piece to that. But then the other thought I had is I was thinking about this the other day too, is Madden was a World of Outlaw touring guy when he was driving. Now he's a Lucas Oil crew chief, so he's even switched series, if you want to say it that way.
Tad different rule book.
Yeah, he's gonna go with the Lucas Oil boys. So it'd be interesting. I mean, at the end of the day, let's put it this way with how Ricky's been in his Longhorns, Madden's job is just to not screw Ricky up.
Yep.
The dude's gonna be there every single night to try to win races, and he proved it again at the PDC, starting super deep, and he got himself to second before he hit the wall and broke.
Basically brings a whole nother database of knowledge.
I was just gonna say, just sit back and think about the knowledge that shop is gonna have between Richard, the O Show, and Chris Madden.
Madden.
Between those three, I mean, even if you do have different chassis, I mean,
3 Hall of Famers.
Yep.
100%.
Kohler's setting himself up there for
Bingo. Long-term success.
Oh,
for sure. So, of note, it is the next Lucas Oil race that this will take place. So RTJ does not have Madden with him at Cedar Lake if he shows.
yeah. He's running for Rumley. So they are scheduled to come up here. I hope they do. So yeah, he's working with Rumley. Obviously, that's the car that Hudson O'Neill drove earlier in the year when he did
Yep.
a good job. And that's also the car that Brandon Shepard had driven for a race or two. And
Doesn't Larson run with Rumley when he goes?
yep. And when Larson wants to run, he runs for Rumley. So Rumley just has all the Longhorn ringers that when somebody just needs something, come on down.
I got a car for you.
Yeah,
Yep.
for sure. So
So
yeah, I hope that car unloads on Thursday night. That'd be so badass.
yeah. We already touched on the Cars Tour one, so we won't necessarily talk about that one. But any other news items before we touch on some other winners from the week?
Not that I can think of.
Well, Cam, you want to put your reading skills to the test, and who else won this past week?
Oh yeah. All right, check here. Make sure we got all our checks and balances in here. We're rocking the yellow color here. All right.
Start at the top. Both race number 1 because that was
Yep.
full for me.
So XR Super Series. Tyler Erb gets a win at one of the Davenport duels. Kellen, who won on Tuesday when you went?
My nature.
Yeah,
Mother Nate.
that wet stuff that falls from the sky. I drove all the way down there. The radar looked good. Drove through a hell of a storm to get there. Skies are clear and blue. Gates open at 5. I'm sitting in the car. It's 4:45. A cloud rolls in. I'm like, that ain't good. The next thing you know, it rains. I look at my phone. Oh, canceled. I'm like, oh well, at least I'll be home at 7 o'clock.
That
Tuesday
was
at Davenport just is not treating you well.
yeah, for those
No.
listening that have been following along there, the old tire changer and Jackman made a trip down to Davenport for the high limit, and that was also rained out on a Tuesday night. So hopefully I haven't checked the forecast, but hopefully you guys keep that wet stuff away for this weekend.
Painful is what those 2 trips have been.
Yeah. But then last week, big midweek show for High Limit, and Rico Abreu finds himself back in victory lane. World Outlaws at Baps, James McFadden gets a win. Castro had a little teaser or intro to Falls, and Ricky Thornton Jr. got the win there for Castro. Extreme Outlaw Midgets, Cannon McIntosh, IRA Sprint Cars, Dodge County Fairgrounds. Big Wheel, Scotty Field gets the deal done. World Outlaw Late Models, first night for the Prairie Dirt Classic.
Yeah, hold off on that one because we'll talk about that.
What?
We'll say we're going to talk about PDC here.
Oh, my bad. All right. Skip that one. Powerized Sprint Cars at Lake Eye. Atron Genton. Big
Ayrton.
8 models at State Park Speedway for the Detjens. Michael Bilderback. World Outlaw Sprint Cars. William Grove. TJ Stutz.
Talked
Never,
about that earlier too. Yep.
yeah, never heard of him. Cars Tour, touched on that. Throwback, but Jimmy Renfro, Cars Tour
Prolates.
Limited. That was Prolate's Limited. Ronnie Bassett. Yeah, who else we want to touch on? Arkham Nard series. Corey Day, we touched on that last week, getting his debut did not end well, but Midwestern guy from Minnesota, William Sawalich, gets the job done there at Salem. Arkham Nards West at Shasta, Tyler Reef. ASA we touched on was Mondyke, Extreme Outlaw Midgets, Chase McDermott, and then old Louis Hamilton gets the job done at Spa.
Yep. Spa. After George Russell gets DQ'd for being 1.5 kilograms light on the scales.
Oof.
So yeah, it's some good racing. So and we'll get into what I just touched on there earlier, and I got cut off on the next topic of some World Outlaw late model racing and the 34th Prairie Classic at Fairbury.
Side note, very quickly. Stuart Friesen driving a sprint car tonight.
Huh?
Yep.
Where?
Weedsport. Heat
For
race.
who?
Glenn Stiers.
Huh. All right then.
Did not see that coming.
No, I did not. Interesting. Hey,
Yeah.
when you're off, you're off. Might as well go do something.
Yep.
All right, so let's touch on Prairie Dirt Classic. You guys got to see more of what happened than I did, so I'll let you guys take the reins on this one.
Oh, yes, we did. All right. So PDC, the 34th running of the Prairie Dirt Classic at the Fairbury Speedway. It's no longer called Falls, it's just Fairbury. So Matt Gustin, he was quick. Gustin was up front, he was fast, and then all of a sudden that infield tractor tire reached out and grabbed his nose and folded that under. So that was kind of the end of his up front battles for the night. Pretty kind of got a longer run until we got to about lap 60, and then that's where Pierce spun, and then he went to the back. So he turned himself around, went to the back. And then late in the race, this a lot kind of developed there. So RTJ, he started deep too. He got himself to second. He was running the cushion right off of 4. He banged the wall hard one good time, and then that was the night. I think they said he broke a J bar. But that ended his night, and he was a man on a mission there. He was just ripping the top, and you could just see him coming. You're like, oh boy. And then he broke. And then that really was the caution that kind of didn't help the race for Hoffman. You know, it erased a 2.3 second lead. I read a thing today on Twitter, and it's like these invisible cautions are. What are your thoughts on an invisible caution changing the outcome of a crown jewel? Well, Ricky banged the wall hard one good time, and then he came off the wall and he pulled right down into the infield. He crossed the racing line, but he pulled right into the infield and then threw the caution.
And even in races past, how many times do you see a guy? I mean, we see this on the asphalt side of things too. You see a guy that kind of putts along the infield, waits for a gap to come across to hit the outside pits.
And he didn't He didn't have to slow down. He did nothing. He banged the boards and he went right to the infield. He knew that car was broke. So now,
Debatable caution.
now at that point in the race, do you feel like that the officials maybe needed to check the track for something? I I can understand it, I don't know. So I don't it ultimately what it does is it regrouped them. And that that really gave Pierce his shot, is what it comes down to, because Hoffman had almost a 2.5 second lead. And then they kind of got strung out again a little bit. Um, and then Hoffman took off on the restart, and Pierce just slowly reeled him in, and last lap slider 3 and 4 got her done. So, yeah, is the middle of the race kind of had a long run, and then had a handful of cautions there late to Brandon Shepard broke late as well. Or Flatter broke late as well. But yeah, that kind of that last initial caution that just gave Pierce a chance he had Hoffman within fingertips reach.
Did I
So
see right then too that Davenport did not make the show?
that is
Correct.
correct. He did not make the feature.
And then Garrett Albolson, he had the opportunity to either take the $5,000 check or
3,500.
3,500.
3,500. You can take. He wins like you basically win like there's the last chance showdown, and then it's like the
This is the King of the
non-qualifier.
Hill that I'm looking at.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
old King of the Hill, the non-qualifier feature. Thanks for coming. You're not going to make the big show, but we'll give you guys a feature show, feature. Yeah, Gary tore that check in half. And said, "I'm not taking 3,500. We came here to race, and that's what we're going to do." So he went to the tail of the field, and kind of a cool deal, giving a team a chance to either hey, thanks for coming, didn't make the show. Here's $3,500, or here's the old jungle cat again.
Which he had a good run. He went from 23 to 8, but the payout, at least according to the World of Outlaws, was only $2,800.
Dude, but it's the thrill of going for the big money.
Oh, absolutely. You got to be in it to win it.
And I'm guessing from the interviews I've seen from Gary, I'm guessing he was happier than piss to go from the tail of the field to 8th. And even though he lost out on $700, I guarantee he was just thrilled.
Yep.
Good car, passed a lot of cars, a lot of fun, probably kept it clean.
He's found a lot of speed lately. He's been competitive wherever he goes. Now, the thing about it is, you can't win the Prairie Dirt Classic if you're not in the Prairie Dirt Classic.
You got to be in it to win it.
Bingo.
You can't win the race if your name ain't in the hat. Let's be honest,
dude.
So,
And for somebody like that, it's like, okay, he's gonna have good pace. It's like we always talk about, some of these asphalt races. It's the same thing with some of these dirt. 100-lap race on a quarter mile boring. Sometimes just stay on the lead lap and let some of these good guys eliminate themselves.
It's what happened at Slinger. You had 2 guys that came from the last chance, and then ultimately finished 1, 2.
Yep.
3, really, if you counted Morrissey.
yep.
So it's like, just keep a good pace, pick them off when you can, and stay on the lead lap. And again, some of these guys will eliminate themselves, and they'll wreck themselves. And there you go. There's an extra 3 spots he just gained.
But again, that's a case of he was the last one on the track before the big show.
He got some track time.
Depending on how much they rework it, you know exactly what your car needs.
Yep.
Now, are you going to have more laps on your tires? For sure. But you just came off the track and you can go, all right, boys, this is what this thing needs. So it hurts you in some fashions, other fashions it can help you too. So
Who's to say he probably followed Pierce a lot of that way too, because Pierce came from 24th.
yeah. Well, why not follow him around? He led in the last 2 years, he's led or 3 years. I think he said he's led 260 some laps at that place.
Yeah.
He's just never been able to win one. So You know he's going to be fast. Just follow him around.
Yep.
Why not?
Uh, you mentioned too earlier, Hoffman obviously led a lot of laps. There was lap money to go with that too, and he took home a good chunk of lap money.
Yeah, $59,000 to be exact. It's more lap money than it paid out to win the race.
He actually got paid more than Pierce. Looking
Correct.
at the payouts here, Hoffman had 59.5 and Pierce was at 555. So I got 9,000 more dollars out of that.
And we kind of talked about this before we got on here. At the end of the day, you want to win that race, but Hoffman's not walking away empty-handed. That is for goddamn sure.
Yep. Did you guys see what Hoffman tweeted about 10 hours ago? Says
Yeah.
let's 68, needed 69. So says nice. And says he got beat. Congrats to Bobby on the win. He earned it. Says hate to lose that way. But he just doesn't know what he could have done different. Wasn't my time, but hey, we'll be racing again next week.
Yep. Yeah. So I mean, ultimately, everyone that the Predator Classic is so hard to win, and to be two corners from winning that feature, I'm sure it just absolutely is painstaking. But at the end of the day, you can look at it and go, well, we know what we got when we go there, and we walked away with a very healthy check.
Yep, absolutely. To
So,
especially continue his chase towards the championship, especially with Shepard finishing 15th of that one, he closes the gap
yep.
on the championship as well.
Yeah, as much as we talk about that being such a big crown jewel, that is a points race for the World Outlaws.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Fairbury produced. It always does. I mean, the racing was absolutely phenomenal. Top, bottom. Hoffman ran the middle for most of that race. You don't see that too often. There's guys wrapping bottom. Pierce and Thornton just banging the boards, and Hoffman just kind of right through the middle. So
Yeah.
Hoffman just said, he goes, looking back at it, I really don't think there's anything I could have done different or I should have done different. Sometimes those races like that, it's kind of a curse to be the leader because you don't know where you need to be.
Yeah.
You're waiting for somebody to show you the nose or um your stick guy to help you out a little bit, but sometimes track change like that can kind of hurt you being the leader. So
We don't need to toot his horn. I feel like we've done it a lot, but Nick Hoffman, second year on tour, man, has really come into his own.
Breakout year.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Taitora group is clicking right now.
For sure. So
I really hope he runs well this weekend.
you're telling me. You don't need to tell me twice.
Yeah.
So real quick, we'll hit the top 10 here. Obviously Bobby Pierce won, Nick Hoffman was second, Dalton Wilson was third, Mike Marlar fourth, Chase
Youngins.
Jungans was fifth, Devin Moran sixth, Brian Shirley seventh, Garrett Alberson was eighth, Shannon Babb ninth, and Tyler Bruning rounds out your top 10.
Yes, sir. Phenomenal race. We got to get there at some point.
I'm game.
That place is crazy.
I'm game. How far is it from your house?
3 hours.
Oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
All
Yep.
right.
Mentally noted.
Got that right.
Yeah, because this coming weekend next year won't be a thing.
You got no one to blame but yourself on that one.
Yeah, I know. I know. So we'll have to find another big one to go to.
Yep, that'll be a good one. So,
Yeah.
all right. Any other thoughts here? Any other races you guys want to touch on quickly before we look ahead at the week that is?
No, I'm excited for this coming week.
All right. So, who wants to hit on the first one here?
Dylan. That's
I'll take it.
he loves Duck River.
Duck River Raceway. Wow. Quite the name. Hunt the Front Super Dirt Series back in action this weekend. Friday and Saturday, August 2nd and 3rd. $5,000 to win Friday night, $20,000 to win Saturday night. The series is coming off a little bit of a break. Their last raced feature was June 22nd, with Zach Mitchell winning. Um, they were supposed to race July 6th. That's annoying, but that was postponed with the rain. So they're got guys that have kind of been racing wherever, doing whatever. Now they're back on the tour. Just your top five in the points, really quick. Brandon Overton, Sam Seawright, Ashton Winger, Joseph Joyner, Josh Putnam. So they are back in action.
I'll touch on these next two here. Madison International Speedway. We got both the Big 8 late models and the All-Star Challenge in action this week. So basically, we got some late model racing going on. Could be comparable to a pro late model or a limited late model. Big 8 was supposed to be racing at Madison on the 24th, but they got rained out, so they're kind of doing a double header. All-Star has been getting a good number of cars, so I would expect a lot of drivers, and including weekly drivers at Madison, to be here for this one. Looking at Big 8 points real quick, your top five are Michael Bilderback, John Reynolds Jr., Dalton, Randy Sargent, Brian Brown, and Kendrick Cryer there. And then in the All-Star points, you got Bennett, Riddle, Billy Braun, Mark Eswine, Beaver, and the name got cut off here, Urban.
Yep.
So big race coming up at Madison. Obviously we love Madison. It's a good track. And again, with them running late models weekly, it should be a stout field of cars there. The other one I touch on real quick, I had a race preview go out last week for it, but the USAC Sprint Car Series, they're in the middle right of their Indiana Sprint Week. Logan Seavey and Kyle Cummins have won the first two races. They were supposed to race tonight, but that has been postponed till Tuesday. So we are going to get pretty much 4 straight days. I want to make sure I got that number right. 5 straight days. We got 5 straight days of USAC racing, starting on Monday. Oh no, sorry, Tuesday. Got 5 straight days to round out Indiana Sprint Week. So all that can be seen on Flow Racing.
I'll jump into this last one here briefly. We'll have a race preview coming out later in the week. We'll have boots on the ground for the World Outlaw late models at Cedar Lake for the USA Nationals 3-night show, Thursday night, and Friday nights. Probably, I don't know exactly, but last year they were 6,000 to win. Saturday, 100 lap, 50,000 to win feature. So, but boots on the ground. Should be a fun weekend. It was an awesome experience for us last year. Had a thrilling finish there. Bobby Pierce around the outside of Hudson O'Neill on the last lap. So photo finish there for us last year. And yeah, Cedar Lakes just was last year. Awesome experience for us, and awesome racing, great facilities. Maybe they hopefully upgraded those trough
Oh no. Leave
bathrooms.
Leave
yeah.
the trough.
So yeah, stay tuned for that. We'll be looking forward to some dirt racing at Cedar Lake.
Hell yeah. Other races on this docket for this week. I touched on the USAC Sprint Car Series. We got Lawrenceburg, Circle City Raceway, the Terre Haute Action Track, Bloomington Raceway, and Tri-State Speedway as their 5 races that will hit here. World Outlaws. So the Federated Auto Parts I-55 Speedway is going to be busy this week. We got the Power I Midgets in a close-section race with the Extreme Outlaw Midgets, and then a doubleheader with the World Outlaw Sprint Cars. So we're going to have a lot of racing going on at the I-55. The Arkham Menard Series is going to be racing at Elk Cove Speedway this weekend as well, where Jesse Love was your winner last year. The NASCAR Wheel and Modified Series, they will be at Lancaster, where Austin Beers was your winner. The American Canadian Tour, the ACT Series, will be at White Mountain Motorsports Park. Jason Switzer was your winner there last year. And then kind of National Tour Series coming up to Road America. The IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Series will be at Road America on Sunday afternoon. So a little bit of a short week when it comes to racing, but definitely going to have a lot of action-packed racing nonetheless.
Yeah.
So, touching on race picks here real quick. So I did some tallying up of our picks last week. Cam ended up being the best out of all of us on our race picks. He had a number one and a number two on his race picks. Then it was Kellen. He had a one and a three, and then I had a two and a three. So doing the combined numbers there, I get to pick first. Also looking at the point standings, I am still in the lead at 939 points. Cam, you are at 869, and then Kellen is at 838 for
Let's make,
points.
make 2 picks.
Make 2 picks. You want to
Yep.
do snake draft again?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me get this put in here real quick, and then we'll go from there. Well, if I get first dibs, I got to take the obvious one here. I got to take Bobby Pierce.
Okay.
So, Cam, you get second pick.
Wasn't Kellen?
Or, sorry, Colin, you get second pick.
Yeah, so looking at it, I think what I am going to do. Give me Brandon Shepard.
All right. And then, Cam, you get the next 2 picks.
Sheppy.
I'm gonna go Jonathan Davenport.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go. Ah, fuck it, he's hot. Nick Hoffman.
Damn it.
I thought that was gonna be your first pick, if I'm being honest.
Nope. I needed to get the hammer.
So you're back to me, huh?
Yep. Back to you.
Yeah, so let me look at our sheet really quick. Other guys were expecting to be there.
Didn't even look at that sheet. Whatever.
Well, that's what you get. Um, Give me Huddy.
Damn it. I was hoping he was going to be forgotten about.
No, give me Huddy.
Now you're really putting me in a predicament here.
I completely forgot about those guys.
Richard.
Yeah, you might as well take him.
Well, yeah, he's going to be there too. Yep.
Look
I'm going to take him then.
Hopefully he breaks like he did last year.
RTJ will be my second pick.
You left a lot on the table with the World Outlaw guys. Dillard, Bronson, Gustin, Bruning, Herb, Shirley.
How many combined wins do those guys have?
But look at, I was about to say, but look at the guys that are hot too.
True.
Of note, Stuart Friesen starts 9th in the feature.
Oh,
So
hello.
Outlaws feature about to roll off.
Yeah, hello, sprint car racing.
So cool. Well, we'll keep track of them picks throughout the week, and obviously we'll do the summation of that next week. But this is one that we've been looking forward to for a couple weeks now in Cedar Lake, so we're excited for this one. So, any other final thoughts here, fellas, before we kind of wrap up for the evening?
I'm just excited to have a short week. Got 2.5 work days, then it's race day.
I'm about to say I got 3.
Yep, I'm working a half day Wednesday. I'll be up middle of the day Wednesday, and then
We're on the road Thursday.
Thursday and Friday, it's get to the track about 1 o'clock, hang out for an hour, go into pits at 2, and find our spots and get all settled in. So
Buy some merchandise.
I'm excited now that we got that place figured out.
Yep, and hopefully I can get that sucker signed.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. I think we had a great episode. A lot of discussion came out of this, but also we got a lot of stuff to look forward to. Obviously I say this a lot. Go out to your local short track. They're right in the midst of the season. A lot of good stuff going on. Some crown jewels are coming up for a lot of races here in late July and August. So make sure to go out to your tracks. Enjoy them while you got them around, because obviously some of them are starting to fall off the map. But always make sure to hit the bell, subscribe to us on YouTube and all your listening platforms. You get notifications and when we post anything. Thanks for tuning in. Otherwise, we'll see you all next week on the Tuesday Track Talk.